And welcome back, everyone. Welcome. Hope you enjoyed that lovely duct tape from times gone by. Less than 3, Shelby. Less than 3. Of course, Shelby, a player near and dear to my heart. Unfortunately, I think he plays League of Legends nowadays. Shaking my head, Shelby. Shaking my head. But we have returned here, and we are getting ready for the grand finals. As you can see just below me, it is going to be Nicoract versus FightingFrog. Bit of a TvP. We already witnessed this earlier in the day. Nicoract was able to dominate Shameless in his own TvP in the semifinals. Oh boy, so I still consider him the favorite. I consider Nicoract the favorite, I should say. But I also considered Soul Spirit the favorite against FightingFrog. And FightingFrog has been kind of surpassing expectations. He's been so tenacious. He just refuses to die. Yeah, I think he's coming into this as a bit of the underdog, but he could totally take this too. Yeah, like the way that he was able to take the last series. Like, you know what? He could just do it again, mate. Why not? Why not, Papi? Let's go. So yeah, if you wish in the chat, you can try and set up some predictions. You can try and you know, wager a little bit as to who you think is going to be the Ascension League champion for season 1 from the region of Europe. Oh boy, who's it going to be? It's been a long road. I saw someone at the start of the broadcast was like, "Yo, finally this tournament is going to end. It started like a year ago." It did. And it's finally coming to its natural conclusion here. We are going to be wrapping up the EU Ascension League tonight, and it all ends with TvP. Let's go, Poppy. Let's go. Who's going to take it? As a reminder as well, this is going to be a best of 7, not a best of 5. So a longer series format. It does mean that there are no vetoes, only map picks. And we are now getting into game number 1, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Gresvan, we have the blue Terran player representing Storm Gaming. It is Nicoract. And spawning in the top left hand corner of Gresvan, we have his opponent. We have the Swedish Protoss player representing Team Little Fairy. He just took down Soul Spirit 3-1. It is FightingFrog. And boy, does this frog know how to fight. Shout out to Little Fairy. And before things begin, oh my god, we do have a proxy being set up by Nicoract, and FightingFrog is aware of the possibility. He checks for a proxy, but he just barely doesn't go far enough. He missed it, Poppy. He missed it. Thankfully, it's not a... Actually, I was gonna say it's not an overly committed proxy, but is this gonna line up for a proxy marauder? It's only 1 Rax though, so I doubt it. I think it's just gonna be a Reaper across the map, and oh boy, yeah. Unfortunate start from FightingFrog. He goes across the map, he goes to the scout, and alas, the Rax is missing. Where is it? Well, you were so close to seeing it, so close, puppy. Aye. Also confirms the gases have been taken, is going to stick around long enough to see the additional production thrown down, and there it is. It is going to be a Reaper across the map. We have kind of seen this from time to time from players like Bjorn, from players like I think Maru as well, or at least Cure. This kind of has risen in popularity. It's not a really big commitment. All it is just a faster Reaper across the map to abuse something like this. We do have the bunker on the way, and it has some really nice kind of SimCity setup here. Because of this, you can RNG the SCV in between these 3 mineral patches, and you can kind of protect it from these probes. But FightingFrog, very quick to respond, very quick to scout, and he already has a shield battery on the way. Nicely done. Meanwhile, the Reaper makes his way into the main base. We do have the Stalker being chronoed out, but before the Stalker can come out, we need to micro our workers. We need to make sure we lose as few as possible. 1 probe is going to be going down, but only a single probe. Nicely done there by FightingFrog. Meanwhile, the bunker has finished. The Reaper makes it inside, and now FightingFrog is going to be forced to only saturate his main base for the time being. As even a second and a third Reaper is on the way. Oh my god, we're going to try and snowball. I mean, from here, we're going to be able to just abandon the natural location and go straight into the main and try and focus down workers. It's going to get wild. Oh, God. Up, up. Oh. As we're just going to try and trade as much of that shield energy as possible. So far, nice repairs on this SCV as well. Hasn't taken a single hit yet. Very nice control. Up. Oh, my God. The hot pickup. Forces an overcharge out of the Protoss as well. But this bunker will not die, the SCV will not die, and the repairs are just too damn good once again. Oh, Nicoract, he's styling on it. Back at home, we have continued one base play. You know, we have the 1-1-1 setup. We do have a drop being set up as well. Widowmines will soon get across the map. The shield battery is out of energy. Oh my God, that's how insane the SCV micro has been. The repair from the SCV has been as good as a shield battery and an overcharge. And you don't see that too often at all. Oh, again. Oh my God. Oh, and Nicoract is committing. We have an armory behind this. We will require detection to deal with the drop. Alright, here we go. The drop is going to be rushing across the map. We do have a Stargate, which means we'll have access to an Oracle for detection. But before that happens, the Widowmines are going to take control of the main base. Here we go. They take down one of the Stalkers. Oh my God. I almost never see that happen. The Void Ray will clean this up. We will not have a salvage, but so much lost mine time. Look at how much damage was dealt to the Nexus as well. And now the drop is coming in. We have an armory. We need detection. Without it, there's going to be no mining. Here we go. The Reapers, they come back in. They're trying to distract FightingFrog right now, and in comes the drop. Up, up, up. No reaction. No. It's too late. Oh my God. Very last second reaction in the end. We do have two Widowmines coming on in. One of them is going to be burrowing here at the natural. Oh God. Oh, 7 probes do go down. We are chronoing out an Oracle. The problem with the Oracle is that it has a revelation, but it's not going to be able to hit every single one of these Widowmines. The Widowmines are going to be able to reset, and the Reapers are coming back in. They are focusing down the Nexus. The Nexus, it's going down to Reapers. Oh my God. GG. As 15 probes go down, unfortunately, we won't see if the Nexus would go down to the Reapers. It probably would, as GG gets called and Nicoract takes the first game. Oh my God. Oh, that was crazy. That's insane. GG. Nicoract just flexing his micro, flexing his control, being able to avoid stalker shots and getting that SCV into the bunker time and time again, while also managing to repair, while also setting up, of course, his Widowmine drop. GG. I'm shook. I'm a little bit shook after that game. I wasn't ready for this. My body was not ready. But this is happening. GG, well played. We are going to be getting into game number 2 after a dominant performance in game 1 by Nicoract. Of course, a lot of that was because of the opener and because of the proxy racks that did go unscattered, but here we go. We are now getting into game number 2. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Neo Humanity, we have the Blue Terran player currently leading this series 1-0, representing Psystorm Gaming. It is Nicoract. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Neo Humanity, we have his opponent. We have the Swedish Protoss having a bit of a rough time in game 1, but looking to recover and fight back in game 2. It's the Red Protoss representing Little Fairy, FightingFrog. Mate, you don't want to anger the frog, mate. We've seen what happens. As this time, Nicoract, his SCVs are kept at home. He is going for a Rax expand instead, so a lot more economic. Meanwhile, FightingFrog does send out a probe very early to scout and to make sure that nothing crazy is going on. I don't blame him, especially after game 1. I don't blame him at all. Because game 1 was... that was not just brutal, like physically, but like mentally as well. Like that was just a really great performance from Nicoract, is what I will say. Ugh. As yeah, from here we're just going into a gate expand. Everything's looking quite standard from both of our players to begin with, and I'm sure FightingFrog is breathing a sigh of relief. I'm sure he wants a regular game, he wants a standard game, especially after what just happened. He wants to be able to prove himself and show what he's made of to the people, to everyone. As Nicoract is going for a bit of a greedy opener. We've seen this time and time again from a lot of the top Terran players, where they avoid the SCV Scout and they also avoid the Reaper Scout. We saw a Marine first. Nicoract basically just isn't really concerned with what the Protoss is up to across the map. He's confident in his own play. And typically we will be following this up with a Hellion, so the Hellion can at least get a little bit of scouting, just so we're a little bit aware of what's going on. Meanwhile, this is an interesting choice from FightingFrog, an odd one. He's actually going for a sentry first. Yeah. This is weird because typically we work with adepts, we work with stalkers, we can be aggressive, we can get scouting information that way. It looks like FightingFrog is really paranoid. It looks like he's really paranoid about what the Terran could be doing, and we're going to be committing to go for a hallucinated scout. This will mean that early on, we're actually not going to have as much firepower available for FightingFrog. Like, his overall units are going to be that much weaker, because the gateway was kind of spent on this sentry, but he will be able to at least get that scouting information and get like that confirmed scout as well. As a hallucination is going to be rushing across the map. Oh, is Nicoract gonna? No. Okay. I was like, is he gonna deny the scout? Thankfully, the Marines are able to avoid that hallucination, and FightingFrog is going to be able to get across the map and confirm the 1-1-1 opener. Knows it's not like a 3 racks or a 2-1-1 or anything crazy like that. Marines make their way across the map. They have been spotted by this probe, and this is why I'm concerned, because what do we have to defend? An adept and a sentry without energy? Like, it's just not much at all. Marines are going to push on for the Hellion, just runs on past anyway. The shield battery is going to be enough, though. The shield battery won't allow any unit to die. And we are getting a full scout of the main base. We have confirmation that it is going to be Twilight Council and that it is researching. But yeah, thankfully FightingFrog was able to get that shield battery. If there wasn't a shield battery, then it would have been devastating. It would have been a really rough moment there for FightingFrog. Now Nicoract is aware that he doesn't have to be concerned with making a Cyclone, keeping his Marines back at home to defend against any kind of Oracle play. He is going to be the aggressor here with this Widowmine drop as it slips out across the map. Ooh, the army is actually moving out for FightingFrog, which I think is a really risky move, by the way. The bunker is just about to finish up and it will be done, so these stalkers won't really be able to do too much. They get the SCV, but 1 second too late. Meanwhile, the Widowmines come in and oh my god, 10 probes go down. Oh, a late reaction. Even, like, again, there just wasn't anything here to help deal with this. Always risky as a Protoss to move out with your army this early on, especially after he scouted the 1-1-1, so he should have been aware that a drop would be coming his way. The medevac still here in between the bases, ready to go back in. And 10 workers, that's already worth it here for Nicoract. And we're not done. Liberator is coming in towards the natural. The drop is coming back into the main base as well. We're going for a little bit of multi-prong harassment. Can FightingFrog keep up? This time he will be able to pull his workers in time. Liberator will be focused down. Oh, we don't want to come back too soon. Okay, we're good. We're good. Aye. And there we go. 2 more probes go down. In total, 14 have fallen this game. And again, that's still a great start for Nicoract. He's going to be moving out with his ground army. He's got his tank. He's got his Marines. He did this against Shameless. For those of you who were here at the start of the broadcast, very similar style here overall. It's a little bit risky because we're moving out with only a single tank, and these are vanilla Marines, but Stim is going to finish up in a couple of seconds, and once it does, Nicoract is going to be looking to deny this third. The shield battery is a couple of seconds from finishing up. The tank is about to siege. We do see FightingFrog diving on top of the tank, and he will barely get it. Oh, with the tank going down, with the Colossi coming out, FightingFrog should be fine. Oh my god, we dive on top of the Colossus! We get the Colossus? Oh my god. Mate, the Marines, they're crazy. It was an expensive loss. It did cost us a lot of Marines, but trading Marines for a Colossus is, I feel, worth it. As we do see FightingFrog rushing into that bay, just still working off of 2 gateways as well, so a very greedy style here. FightingFrog has very few gateway units to work with. As we see another drop coming into the natural. Oh, a tank drop even. Yo, we want to try and take control of the robo. This is a little bit ambitious, and I feel like we're overextending a little bit here. Shield battery is going to be going down. We do trade against these stalkers, though. Oof. And we get every single one. I guess not too bad of a trade. It did cost us a tank. It's the downside. As we're just trying to drop in micro with everything we have, just a handful of units at a time. We'll get 2 probes. 2 probes for a Marine. Not too bad at all. As we see Nicoract taking a 3rd base behind this, we do see him actually working on a 2nd starport. Ay, ay, ay. So with the 2nd starport, he's going to be going into 4 Viking production. This is going to hit like a truck, by the way. He's going for all this multi-prong harassment, and he's going to be building up the Viking count back at home, and he's going to be looking to just completely annihilate these Colossi. If this goes unscouted, I mean, again, FightingFrog, he's only been working with minimal gateways for such a long time. We have 3 more gates on the way now. But I don't know if he's going to be ready for this. Do you have an observer in between the bases? It looks like this time the double drop will be scouted. FightingFrog's able to keep up. But the sheer amount of Vikings, he's going to have 6 to 9 Vikings when he moves out. It's going to be crazy. Before that happens, the double drop is moving on in. No stalkers with this army, so there's no way to punish these drops. The stalkers, unfortunately, are busy here in the main. FightingFrog getting pulled apart, even getting supply blocked. We do have a 3rd Colossus on the way, but again, because of the amount of Vikings that we have available, or that we're going to have available, the Colossus count isn't really something that Nicoract is concerned with. Oh boy. We even have a Ghost Academy on the way for those ghosts as well. Disruptors are coming out, and this is going to be an important moment for FightingFrog. Disruptors will help him here, and he's going to be reliant on Nicoract messing up his control and his splits. We have our 2nd Robo double forge on the way as well to get into our upgrades. Triple forge. Oh my god, that's the 3rd forge. I don't think that's intentional, but regardless, we're focusing on our upgrades. There you go. We have a cancel. You love to see it. And as FightingFrog is looking to transition, it looks like he wants to take a 4th base as well. That is what Nicoract is going to hit. Look at the supplies. There is no 4th base behind this. Like, we are very committed on 3 bases. We have 10 Vikings in total, and it's not going to take too long to focus down the Colossus. The first Nova is dodged, and we only had a single Nova. Ay, ay, ay. And even though we have the overcharge, is it going to be enough? It looks like it kind of is. The Colossus are taking a long time to die. We only have 1 Colossus remaining. Nova's going to be going off. The army is being overstimmed. But with the Colossi falling, the Vikings are going to land here. And oh my god, the Nova is going to connect. But even with that connection, it's still not enough. Look at how many Marauders there are. We are being forced back, but here come the reinforcements. Here come the ghosts with the EMPs. We do have these 2 disruptors, which will be resetting their purification novas. Nicoract forced to throw down a 4th CC. That was his moment. The push was designed to end the game then and there, but FightingFrog has survived. Can he survive the next wave, though? That's the question. There's nothing in the main. The entire army is here at the 3rd. Oh, it looks like, yeah, he's getting ready to blink into the main. Does deter the drop. Nicoract looking for another way in instead. Still has a pretty large supply lead. But It doesn't matter if you're up 40 supply, 50 supply. Disruptors, but disruptors don't care about your supply. The soup normally doesn't lie, but it does lie when you play against disruptors. And here we go, the army of Fighting Frog getting distracted for a moment. Pylon does spot the left-hand flank. Fighting Frog gonna try and split up his army. Ooh, he does blink forward and he will get a full medevac. Very nicely done. This Fighting Frog is able to keep up with all the movements. And hopefully we soon see a fourth base. Oh, we even have those Colossi being produced once again. Yeah, Fighting Frog, he survived the worst of it. He's made it through. Oh. Yeah, that was a scary moment earlier. Now it's all gonna come down to the control, though. Like, this is a terrifying army from Fighting Frog. But if these disruptors are caught out, if the target firing is really good from Nicoract, then he can still take a fight. It's all about the purification there, this puppy. It's all about the balls. Here we go, Nicoract, he sees the army, he wants it, he's looking to dive in, he's going for it! The MP! Oh, how good's the target fire? He gets 1, he gets 2, he gets 3, but he takes the Novus to the face. Ay, ay, ay. Nicoract. Too ambitious. He saw 6 disruptors, he's like, I can focus them all down. Oh, the anti-timing! 2-2 just finished. Ay, ay, ay. Nicoract throwing away a lot there for a Hail Mary play. Wasn't worth it. He got 2 disruptors. Oof. I'm just misjudging the situation a little bit there. And Fighting Frog just needs one more fight like that, and he will be looking to take a lead here. His 4th getting saturated. His upgrades are looking on point. Colossus and Disruptor count is pretty impressive. We do have a transition into Liberators, and that will change the dynamic of these units overall if we can get into those lives. But before that happens, we'll see another fight transpiring here. Novas are going off, and they find the connections that they need. Oof. Not so much towards the end there. Yo, and the army's going to stim on forward. We don't have another Nova left. A lot of Stalkers are going down. We don't have any Zealots to buffer. Wow, and the army's just stimming on forward. Now here come the Zealots. Oh, we needed them earlier. And Nicoract, he's pushing his way through. Oh, aspect too soon. Oh, God. That was still a good fight. That was still a good fight for Nicoract. He killed the Colossi, killed some Disruptors, shaved off a lot of Stalkers as well. A very ineffective fight for Fighting Frog. And Nicoract, with his economy, he's going to be able to rebuild and do it again. This time, with Liberators. We don't really have a good answer for those Liberators. Stalkers are okay, but we did just lose half of the Stalker army, and Stalkers are something that ideally build up over time. With this view of a Stalker count, it's going to be difficult to deal with this. It's going to be difficult to blink under those Liberators as well. I'm also assuming that the Liberators are going to be a part of the main army, but they could just go across the map to harass if they wanted to. Oh. Here we go. Nicoract once again maxing out. The Observer does spot this army. Fighting Frog going to be able to respond. Do you have a double drop on the left hand side? Also gets spotted by the Observer. Yo, the Observer positioning from Fighting Frog has been insane. He's always able to keep up here because of it. But the Libs siege up, and oh, these Liberators, they're getting a lot of shots off. The freedom is real. They shut down the Gateway army. They take down the Disruptor. At the same time, the double drop distracting Fighting Frog for a moment. Doesn't find too much room. Doesn't make too much room. But yeah, these Liberators are so oppressive. Oh, God. And I guess we're going to try and fight underneath these zones. And the target firing is on point. The Novas will connect. But not before these Liberators trade out here with the reinforcements. Nicoract is looking to overwhelm. The Novas are just not what they really need to be. And there's still no answers to Liberators. Look at all these zones. There's just no way to push into this. Whenever we do, we just lose too much. And Nicoract, he can just leapfrog forward from here. Oh, the Colossus gets targeted down. FightingFrog is just getting bullied away from his own fourth base. We see an aggressive blink forward here, but that's not going to work out. GG gets called, and Nicoract takes a 2-0 lead in this best of 7 finals. Oh. GG. Oh. I was really worried that Nicoract had thrown the game when he dove on those 6 disruptors and when he lost his army. I was like, mate, is this how it all ends? But thankfully, like, again, he had enough map control, he had a good enough economy to sustain those losses and to rebuild from there. I'm sure he would have had an easier time if he didn't dive the way that he did. But if he didn't dive, then he wouldn't be Nicoract, you know? That's just the way that he is. Oh, GG. GG. Now we're going to be looking to get into game number 3 here. Again, because it's a best of 7, we still have plenty of games ahead of us. FightingFrog just having a hard time keeping up with the aggressive style of Nicoract, at least in these first 2 games. But we'll see if that changes in game number 3. Because spawning in the top right hand corner of Royal Blood, we have the blue Terran player representing Psystorm Gaming. It is Nicoract. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponent, the Swedish Protoss representing Team Little Fairy. It is FightingFrog. The frog does fight. He has been fighting the entire day in the semifinals. Here in the finals, he's made it, but yeah, I mean, game 1 was an anomaly, to be fair. Like, I don't think we can extrapolate too much from game 1 just because of how chaotic it was with the proxy. But game number 2, he was having a hard time keeping up with the drop play, and this is how Nicoract prefers to play out TvP. He's all about coming in with his Liberators, with his drops, pulling apart the Protoss, and testing their micro ability, testing their attention span. It's a fun style to watch, definitely. But I'm sure it's an annoying style to play against. Oh. So FightingFrog has to try and maybe have a different approach here. On a map like Royal Blood, I honestly wouldn't be opposed to a Stargate opener. I'm not too sure if that's in kind of the realm of builds that FightingFrog has at his disposal. He's been going for Twilight Council openers so far every game in this series. But I wouldn't mind him mixing in, you know, a Stargate and going for Asher's favorite composition, Phoenix Colossus. Oh, he loves it. It's so beautiful. Oh boy. Well, we'll see. As once again, Nicoract does go for a Rax Expand. Very economic, very standard. Oh. What you love to see. I've seen that I don't think Nicoract often at all opens up double gas. Despite the fact that it's pretty meta. And a lot of Terran players have been opening up with more aggressive openers in TvP. Nicoract, he's not about that life. It's not about it. His aggression is only in drops, not in openers. Or gas openers, I mean. He did proxy game 1. As we have a pretty interesting follow-up, actually. Once again, Nicoract, he's going to be opening up Reaper. He's going to get across map for some scouting information. Once again, FightingFrog goes for a Sentry first, which is a little bit odd. Again, it is for scouting information. It does mean that he's going to have a harder time keeping up with this Reaper, and the Reaper was able to get into the main base and did not see the Stargate. Ooh. So Nicoract is in the dark right now. He doesn't know what the opener is. So far, all the units that have been shown have been just like game 2. Meanwhile, Nicoract is going for a 2-1-1 setup. He delays his starport, he goes for a faster Rax instead before the factory even finishes. What is this, a TVZ? yeah, we have a bit of a treat for everyone in the chat. 2-on-1 is very uncommon in this matchup. With this, you hit a timing with Stim and with 2 medevacs to drop across the map. You see it very commonly against Zerg, not too much at all against Protoss, and this is scattered by the hallucination. And I do worry here as a result. Oh my, what? I can't handle fight. He's crazy. He goes for a Stargate opener. He doesn't make anything. He doesn't make anything from the Stargate. He's only using the Stargate to go into a gigafast a fleet beacon. 2-base Tempest? Is that what we're getting right now? Is it gonna get scattered? Yo, the Stargate gets scattered. Ooh, and it looks like the fleet beacon barely gets spotted as well. But it was for a split second. Did Nicoract click on it? I don't think he did. I don't think he was able to click on it. But it may not matter, because the 2-on-1 may just kill FightingFrog. We only have 2 gates. We only have 2 gateways. We don't really have a lot of units to work with. We're going into 2-base carrier, but the drop is coming across the map. FightingFrog, he saw the 2-on-1. He should know what's coming his way. But look at the units tab. We have 2 zealots, 2 adepts, and 1 sentry. They can defend with the help of a shield battery, but what about the main? What about the tech? What about the Stargate? We'll see how this goes. Stim is going to finish up in 3 seconds. The Marines are going to push on forward here. They need to see what's coming out of this Stargate. They see the fleet beacon. He knows he's being clowned on. The army sims on forward, and he is diving on top of the carrier. The carrier is going to go down. And FightingFrog is just dead. He's actually just... He should be dead. I mean, here we go. It looks like he's going to force a pickup, but... This is not a good start for FightingFrog. Look, if you want a comparison, what we just saw is as if the Zerg player saw the 2-on-1 and the Zerg player went like 2-base Spire, you know? Like it's illegal. It's not allowed. It's crazy. But here we go. FightingFrog, he takes control of his main. He lost a lot of workers. He lost his carrier, but you know what? He's standing strong here on 2 bases. Technically the second carrier comes out. What am I watching? This is not StarCraft. I don't know what this is. I need help. Oh no! Oh, the carrier straying a little bit too far out, takes some shield damage. At the same time, Nicoract is looking for a little bit more here. He dives in for the sentry, but he will not get it. He's forced away. Oh my god, but we have to cancel this third. Cancel, but there we go. There we go. Alright. So, a couple of things are going on here. One, that was okay for Nicoract to lose a drop here for a canceled third base. It was only the medevac. It's okay. But a couple of things are happening. One, we don't have a Twilight Council. Because we don't have a Twilight Council, we don't have Blink, we don't have Charge. The Gateway army here is very flimsy from FightingFrog. He is going for like a pseudo, like Protoss mech, like TOS mech style. He's making Skytoss units, he's making Immortals, and he's making Colossi. It's going to be a very small army, but a very high-tech army. And here we go. The army of Nicoract is stimming on forward. He's going to try and get on top of these carriers. He's focusing down every single ground unit. Fighting interceptors, I don't think that's the wisest choice here. Are there enough Marines? It looks like there are. It looks like the man with gun is a little bit too good. The Immortal is going to be going down. The interceptors go down as well, and we're going to have to cancel this third. But the Colossus can hold. Oh my god. FightingFrog is kind of doing it. He lost a lot though. He lost every single unit on the ground, including the Immortal. He lost all his interceptors. His economy isn't amazing right now. He's still making more Immortals. And we just have to keep making men with gun. Just keep making Marines. There's no splash damage. I mean, there is one Colossus, to be fair, but there's only one. Meanwhile, we have a drop into the main again to distract the army. The Colossus is being dragged into the main. As that happens, here comes the main army, and oh my god, the Protoss The probe pool. Not like this, Papi. 4 probes go down. Would you have an overcharge? The main drop is going to be cleaned up. And you know what? We have 3 carriers. That's not bad. That's a lot of carriers. 3 carriers and a Colossus and a Dream. Nicoract has to be careful not to be too wasteful. Like, that drop into the main didn't do much. It got 4 probes. Nicoract, he's gonna be scared. He's gonna be careful. This is scary. Meanwhile, we have a double jump in towards the natural again, just distracting the Protoss army, pulling away these carriers. They're once again getting out of position. That is gonna create an opening here at the 3rd. And with these Marauders, Nicoract can dive on this Colossus. Speaking of the Colossus, I don't think we should be chasing this, Papi. He scans, he sees how vulnerable the Colossus is, and yeah, he's just gonna dive on it. Colossus is gonna go down. Oof. No splash damage. We have a disruptor, I guess. We have a disruptor. Nicoract, he's getting his 4th base up and running, working on 2-1. How many carriers do we have? 4 carriers. It's a lot of carriers. Is FightingFrog gonna meme all over Nicoract? I don't want to count him out. I really don't. Like, if these Novas are good, then FightingFrog can take a fight. He's down 70 supply. I know. He's down 70 supply. I understand, but disruptors. We'll see. The army does get spotted here by the Observer. The first Nova is gonna go off. Ooh, gets a ghost. Not a bad detonation there. Another Nova is going to look to connect as well. Does get a handful of those Marauders, but I think we need a little bit more. And here we go. We have the EMPs. We have the stim as well. We have 0 splash damage, and the army is going to be able to dive on top of these carriers. We have an overcharge, but the overcharge isn't enough to save the carrier. Oof. Oh my god. 1 carrier falls. Nicoract trying to get an eye on the base count. We lose 1, but another takes its place. We have a 5th carrier on the way. 4 Vikings are being produced at a time. Don't die to this, Nicoract. Don't let it happen. Is FightingFrog gonna start the new meta? I hope not. I hope not. I've seen what happens against Zerg players. I've seen the dark side of the Sky Toss. Don't let it become reality. Oh god, so now we're getting a 2nd Stargate for double carrier production. You know, we have a couple more gateways as well to help support the army. We still don't have a Twilight Council. We still don't really have much of a way to support these carriers other than the disruptors, to be honest. There we go. Nicoract is looking to max out. He has 5 ghosts available for his EMPs. He's got 8 Vikings available as well. We're stimming on forward. The first Nova is baited out. Only connects with a single Marauder. We have 2 more Novas behind this. Let's count them out. Oh, sorry, 3 more actually. 2 get wasted. We only have 1 left. We only have 1. Here come the EMPs, and every single disruptor is being focused down. And it looks like Nicoract has done it. It looks like he's going to be able to focus down every one of these carriers. We have an overcharge, but it is not going to be enough. The Marauders push on through. And GG gets called. Thank God. Nicoract takes game number 3 and is 1 game away from becoming the Alpha X EU Ascension League Code A champion. Oh, I can't believe what FightingFrog tried to pull off that game. That was crazy. Going for a Stargate opener into not making any Skytoss unit, going straight for the fleet beacon, despite the fact that he scouted the 2-1-1. That's what it all comes back to. That it all comes back to the fact that FightingFrog scouted the 2-1-1 and he committed anyway. He committed to the carrier rush, which is crazy. It's wild that he still like was committed to that kind of tech path. I guess it's hard to transition out of like, he already had a Stargate on the way and he already didn't have anything coming. I understand that, but it was a pretty early scout because he opened up Sentry and he went for the hallucination. And I feel like rushing into Skytoss like that kind of gets hard countered by 2-on-1s, to be honest. Like that's yeah. Yeah. You gotta respect it. You gotta respect it. It's the 2-on-1, I mean, not FightingFrog trying to go Skytoss. Regardless, let's keep this going, man. Let's keep this going. If he didn't lose his first carrier, this style is somewhat playable. Exactly. Well, that's what I mean, right? The only reason why he lost the first carrier is because Nicoract went for a 2-on-1 and he went for a fast medevac drop across the map, the double 16 Marine stim timing, which is what the build is designed for. Which is why it's crazy he went for it. All right, GG. We're getting into game number 4. I don't know what to expect anymore. You know, anything is possible at this point. It's the gloves are off, Papi. The gloves are off. Hello, Coastal Gulp in the chat. GG, thank God. As a Terran player, Colossal Gulp, I'm sure you understand. Oh boy. Mothership Rush? That would have been fun. Maybe that's up next. I don't know. I don't know, mate. As we are getting into game number 4 and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ancient Cistern, we have the blue Terran player currently up 3-0 in this best of 7 finals. He needs one more game to become the Ascension League champion. Representing Psystorm Gaming, it is Nicoract. It hits deep. Oh, so deep. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Ancient Cistern, we have the Swedish Protoss player representing Team Little Fairy. It is FightingFrog. Hype and heroism, let's go. Oh my god. Meanwhile, thank you so much to Anonymous for tipping $13.37. Very elite of you. Thank you so much. We appreciate the support here. I hope you're enjoying the event itself. Again, the EU Ascension League is something very special and very different. You know, it is designed to give an opportunity for some of these lesser known European players and give them a chance to kind of show off a little bit. And if it wasn't for this event, we wouldn't have seen what the hell we just saw in Game 3. We wouldn't have seen, at the pro level, a Protoss player go for a carrier rush in PvT. He's crazy. He's unhinged. He's lost his mind. He's a frog. Don't know how much of a mind frogs have, but he's also fighting. Oh, but thank you so much for the donation. We appreciate it. It's thanks to the support that we get here on Twitch that we're able to continue to cast as often as we can and run the events that we do as well. So thank you. As we're getting into this once again, almost every single game in this series, Nicoract has gone for a Rax expand. So very economic, very standard, very safe, all that good stuff. Well, not necessarily safe, but standard and economic. Meanwhile, across the map, FightingFrog, he really likes this. He goes for the Sentry first, game after game after game. I mean, I guess there are some pros to it. You know, it does mean that you can scout what your opponent's doing. But I have to question FightingFrog after scouting last game and still not really respecting what he scouted in game number 3. So I don't know. I'm questioning the validity of the Sentry first. Regardless, it's going to be enough to tickle away this Reaper for the time being. The Reaper is unable to scout the tech, and we can see once again a Stargate opener. And this is where we have to theorize a little bit here. This is looking similar to the last game. Ancient Cistern, oh my god. Ancient Cistern is a better map to try and rush Skytoss. I'm not saying it's a good thing to do, but you know, it's better. Just because this map is larger, it takes longer to get across the map as well. So if we wanted to try and make that build work, oh my god, that's a gigafast robo. Wait, what? Jesus. Before the Stargate is even done, we're going straight into a robo as well. what are we planning here? I'm curious, as Nicoract is setting up for a Hellion drop. We do see Hellions rushing across the map. He's proxying his starport. He's going to be picking up these Hellions and dropping into the main base to deal some economic damage. Before that happens, the Reaper dips in, does see the Robo at the natural, does confirm it, as we have Phoenix production. Phoenixes can do quite well when it comes to denying this drop, but the Phoenixes are going to be moving out, and okay, thankfully they're staying at home. They're staying at home. Oh. Is he going to be able to scout the proxy? Looks like he will not. Again, the Reaper is just being very pesky and very annoying here on the front lines. As the medevac is about to finish up, and Nicoract is going to be just diving into the main. Thankfully, the Phoenixes are already in position. They're going to be able to deny this. Ooh. The Adepts respond as well. This Hellion run by isn't going to do anything. Hellion drop even. Oof. One Hellion goes down. The medevac is going to be hunted down as well, and yeah, this is a rough start for Nicoract. He committed so much to this. He's even got a Liberator on the way. I don't know if the Liberator is even going to deal damage. The Hellions just dive on in. They run past everything. They don't even care. Oof. Oh my god, the probes are lining up. 5 probes go down. No! Not again! Oh, 8 probes go down. Well then. Suddenly the Hellion the Hellion drop was worth it. It did pay for itself in the end. Ooh, and these Phoenixes unfortunately weren't able to defend back at home. Ay. As FightingFrog, from this Stargate opener, once again, these Phoenixes are out of position. Oh, they're actually going to take a little bit of hold damage here. This Liberator going ham in the main base, forcing so much lost mine time. There's so much happening. FightingFrog did go for that fast Robo, and we see why he's going for a fast Bay. He's going into... This is such a greedy and such a risky way to get into Phoenix Colossus. He's doing this off of 1 gate. He has 1 active gateway right now. He's crazy. He can only warp in 1 unit at a time, and to be fair, I think he's going to be able to hold on to his 3rd. I think he barely has enough, and yeah, especially with these Phoenixes. Oh, there we go. We lift up the tank, and the Bio Army is going to be forced back. Like, this is such a greedy way to play Protoss, and he's doing it. He's getting away with it. He saves the 3rd. I can't believe it. Don't show this to Asher. Asher has smudged to this stuff before. Finally, one more gate is on the way, just to help with the warp-ins. But yeah, I feel like Nicoract, unfortunately, he's been investing so much in a lot of this aggression, and even here, it looks like a medevac is going to be punished for being built across the map. He hasn't been able to stop the greed of FightingFrog, even though FightingFrog lost a lot of probes, and he did lose a lot of probes, to be fair. As he loses the Phoenix as well. Rushing into these Colossi like this, it kind of means that you're safe against any kind of bio push. Like, Nicoract can't really do anything. He can't press his advantage. Because what's he going to do? He's going to run into 2 Colossi. So yeah, Nicoract is forced to turn around, come back home. He's getting a 3rd base on location very late. FightingFrog is getting further and further ahead economically because of this fast 3rd. Because he was cutting so many corners. And FightingFrog is finally looking pretty good right now. A rocky start with the Hellion drop, don't get me wrong, but he has been able to more than recover from that. And oh my god, he's even investing into +1 air attack. Ugh, really embracing that Phoenix Colossus. We do see Nicoract has to try to make something happen with this army. The pressure is on Nicoract, but because of the delayed starport production, because it was proxied, and because it got found, and because he's been losing medevacs, he doesn't have him. He has 1 medevac with his army, and it's out of energy. Like, he can't even stim properly. He can't engage. He can't drop. He can't do anything. As Nicoract was forced to just find another home for this starport. Yeah, he's just forced to just chill back at home instead. He can't be as aggressive as he likes to be in this matchup. And he goes for the scan, sees how saturated this base is. Can't really do too much about it. He does delay the 4th, I guess. Does kill that probe. So how do we come back from this? Well, I feel like the best case scenario here for Nicoract is probably receiving the army. Like, with all these tanks, just fortifying his position and maybe even just waiting for his opponent to push into him. The problem is that that's just not how Nicoract plays. Like, he's such an active player. He's such an aggressive player. I don't think he wants to stay at home. I don't think he wants to slowly take a 4th base and catch back up that way. He wants to be in the face of his opponent. We already have a Ghost Academy. Ghosts are being mixed in. He goes for another scan. Does see the army, or at least part of it. He misses the disruptors. That's a dangerous scan. He got incomplete information there. He doesn't know that there's going to be 2 disruptors by the time he moves out. Despite that, he could still maybe make something happen here, but he doesn't have a supply lead. Not anymore. Oh, and FightingFrog sees everything, and here we go. He's going to dive on top of this unsieged army. The Phoenixes come in from the right-hand side as well. They pick up every single tank. Before that happens, where are those disruptors? Did the disruptor die? I guess so. I didn't get to see, but I guess the disruptor did die in the middle of that. We do have a second disruptor though, so that honestly wasn't a good fight for FightingFrog. Those tanks did so much for Nicoract. Disruptor just waiting in the back line. Oh, Nicoract able to realize that he was being spied upon by that observer. Oh, he does on siege. He does leave himself vulnerable, and here we go. Show us. Doesn't go for the Nova yet. Phoenix is meanwhile going to be catching some reinforcements. Oh, they get another medevac. Heals medevacs, man. Ooh, and the tanks are left exposed as well. FightingFrog not really diving on that opportunity, just kind of chilling, waiting here, just getting a couple more disruptors. There we go, a couple of us do move forward, and it looks like they will get the 2 tanks. Good pick off here for FightingFrog. Meanwhile, Nicoract's gonna try and split his army up. Oh, he's gonna try and focus down the Nexus, and he will not get it. The charge on Archon is just a little bit too good. It is in position. He picks up, and he goes for a drop into the main base. At the same time, the main army is actually not going to be committing. He's getting some damage done. Don't get us wrong. Yo, can he get the forges? He's going to be able to depower them at least, and it looks like he's going to be able to deny +2. There we go. +2 armor is denied. A drop that's pretty well worth it, I feel. It was a lot of Marauders, though. It was pretty expensive. As he wants to try and finish off this Nexus, and you know what? It's not going to take too much to do it. There we go. He gets the base. Very nicely done. Despite the fact that Nicoract's army has been far smaller than FightingFrog, he's been able to find some damage, but you know what? He's triggering a massive counterattack. Ugh. FightingFrog losing his 4th, losing his upgrades as well. He may be forced to just move out across the map. We do see a scan, and with that scan, FightingFrog is going to back off. But FightingFrog has an army supply lead. Finally, we have Blink. No, shout out to that 13-minute Blink timing. Let's go. We have our second starport on the way. We should be working on Viking production. There we go. Vikings are being produced as we speak to help deal with all these Colossi and Phoenixes, to be fair. Just unlike the previous games, though, Nicoract just hasn't really had much momentum. It isn't something we see too often, but almost this entire game, FightingFrog has had the army supply lead. It's been crazy. Again, he did such a great job at rushing into those Colossi and surviving. Oh, and now we see what we were kind of theorizing earlier. Ancient Cistern, it is a large map. There's a lot of maps, a lot of room to maneuver around. And we have a fleet beacon. We have a second Stargate as well. We are going to be transitioning into Skytoss. FightingFrog not really looking to move out anytime soon. He just wants to defend long enough to be able to get his Skytoss up and running. And Nicoract doesn't know. He is unawares at the moment. I mean, at least he is making Vikings because of the Colossi. You know, he's kind of getting an army that can deal with it, but right now is when FightingFrog is at his most vulnerable. He's in the middle of transitioning into Tempests, into Carriers. Doesn't have them yet, but he soon will. Oh. And here we go. Nicoract rotating over towards the top left, looking for a way in. FightingFrog just chilling. Just happy to chill. Happy to calm down. And he hasn't really split up his army, I just realized. Here towards the north, we have plenty of stacked defense, but ooh, the entire army is being distracted here. This is going to create an opening for Nicoract, as we do see. Okay, FightingFrog does pull back. He does split up his army, didn't lose any workers. And this may be the first sign here that Nicoract gets of the Tempest. And here we go, the Tempests have been revealed. Upon seeing them, he's starting up more Vikings. Oh my god, the Nova! Oh my god, Nova after Nova connects. Nicoract's ground army just evaporates, and even though he was doing a decent job at keeping up with the army, look at the supplies. FightingFrog just took such a great fight there, such an efficient fight with his disruptors. And now he can chase this all the way back home. And again, we saw Nicoract kind of struggling to get to this point. But now the advantage for FightingFrog is too good. GG gets called, and FightingFrog will put a point on the board. Ooh. GG. Oh my god. We have a series. I was really concerned. I was really worried that it was going to be one-sided, that it was going to be a 4-0 in favor of Nicoract, which on the one hand would be pretty hype, but at the same time, like, I want something a little bit more competitive. And FightingFrog, after going for such a greedy build, just such a greedy build this game, he gets away with Phoenix Colossus. He absorbs all of the aggression of Nicoract, and yeah, is able to overcome that. He was also transitioning into Skytels. Didn't need it in the end. Didn't need it at all. Just needed some good disruptor shots. That's all he needed. Ooh. And GG gets called. We have a series. We are getting into game number 5. Is this going to be the beginning of a comeback? FightingFrog, is he going to be able to somehow even create the reverse all sweep? You know, the reverse all kill, sorry. Is that possible? Maybe. We'll see. As we are getting into game number 5. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the player who is still leading the series, who is still one game away from becoming the Ascension League champion. It is the Blue Terran representing Psystorm Gaming, Nicoract. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Dragon Scales, we have his opponent. We have the Swedish Protoss player representing Team Little Fairy. It is FightingFrog. And as we get into this, I want to give a shout out to someone in the chat, to Mitchum94. Oh, gracias, papi, gracias. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. Quack. Hope you enjoy your emotes. Hope you enjoy your replay packs. We do provide replay packs to all of our subscribers of tournaments that we do cover, that we have permission to share the replays of. So things like OSC King of the Hill, Sentimiento Latino, our events, Grand Platypus Open, Sparkling Tuna Cup, and Tenacious Turtle Tussle. So yeah, a lot of replays are available if you're interested, and of course those emotes. Thank you. You also get access to our sub-channel. We do have a sub-channel in our Discord server where we try to share, a little bit of behind-the-scenes information with what's going on. We've been sharing things like concept art for our tournament logos before the announcement, of course, of the platypus, of the turtle as well, stuff like that. Some nice stuff. So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for the support. We appreciate it. Quack, quack, quack. And we are going to be getting into this, and FightingFrog, mate, how the turns do table. Game number 1, FightingFrog got cheesed, and now it is his turn to proxy as he goes for the proxy robo. Oh my god, Abe. We are going to be going all in here on a one base and Nicoract. Oh, something important to take note of is that he has been skipping SCV scouts. Some games he's been skipping Reaper scouts, but not this game. He does miss the Robo, but he is rushing across the map with his Reaper. And when he does get across the map, he should recognize that a pylon is missing, that Nexus is missing. There we go, as the Reaper dips on in, confirming the gas count, confirming that only a single pylon is in the main. And he didn't quite get to see the other side of the base, but he should be able to piece together that something is amiss. Already getting his CC on the high ground. We have a tech lab on the factory as well. I imagine we're going to be getting a Cyclone. We could go for a tank, but a Cyclone would make the most sense here as an all-around defensive unit. We do see SCVs and Reapers all over the place trying to scout, and here we go. He has found the proxy. Upon seeing the proxy robo, we have a tank on the way. Both the Cyclone and the tank have their own roles. Cyclones will be good for focusing down things like war prisms and individual units. Tanks just, you know, fortify a position here. They will be able to take control of the ramp. And FightingFrog is going to have a hard time breaking the ramp, but because he's going for a prism afterwards, he can avoid the ramp. He can just find another way. But of course, before that happens, the Immortal is here. The tank is still in production. The bunker is not going to finish. The tank is going to be able to siege up pretty far behind, but will be able to shell away at these Stalkers and Immortal. Oof. Takes 2 massive hits to the face, but nice target firing from FightingFrog. 6 SCVs were targeted down. Not too bad damage. But again, FightingFrog is all in. He needs to do more than just this. He's actually making sentries. He doesn't have warp gate, so he's just rallying his units across the map like a Terran. Interesting. As we do see the Immortal lifted up in this prism, is looking to shock around and deal some damage. The tank is not covering the mineral line. Uh-oh. The tank is forced to unsiege and respond. Does find a bit of a better position here. Oof. The tank shot does get dodged. But once again, FightingFrog just abusing his maneuverability, and this is the downside of not going for a Cyclone. Again, with a Cyclone, you can chase this down, so we even had 2 tanks made. We'll see if we get a 3rd tank or a Cyclone at this point. We'll see if it's too late. The bunker is salvaged. Nicoract feels confident that he's defended. And you know what? FightingFrog, he's also expanding. It's crazy. Oh, as for the time being, FightingFrog is just looking to contain his opponent. It looks like he will get a kill on this depot, as it does burn down. And yeah, as FightingFrog expands, he's just looking to just contain his opponent and make Nicoract's life a living hell as he tries to expand. You see a couple more gates, as well as the Twilight Council on the way. 3 gates in total. I feel like Blink would be the most natural transition point here for FightingFrog, as he doesn't want to overextend it. There we go. He's going to be backing off here with his Immortal. Still looking for some damage. Yo, can he get the tank? Uh-oh. Yo, he does dive on top of the tank, and he will get it. Mate, that's a massive pickoff. Ay. Nicoract bleeding out here. With the death of that tank, that also means that he can't really counterattack. If he wanted to try and press his advantage, moving out across the map with 2 or 3 tanks would be ideal, but after losing one, he's stuck at home. Oh, and we are not going for Blink. We are going for Charge instead. Oh my. So yeah, we're going to be going for Zealot Immortal. Zealots, of course, have a lot of potential here to close the distance and get on top of these tanks, especially in these wide open spaces. We do see a scan. We do see the Zealots being warped in. That is a bit of a tell. There's no reason to warp in Zealots unless you have Charge on the way. And upon recognizing that Charge is on the way, I imagine Nicoract should be chilling back at home, but no, he's moving out. He may just be moving out to clean up the proxy though. I don't know if he really intends to commit to a counterattack. Oh, as the armies are looking to meet up in the middle, at the same time the Prism is threatening the main base. There is a Viking chilling here, waiting for that Prism. And it is going to be spotted by this Observer. Ooh. But the Zealots are being warped in. The army is responding. Nicoract, his entire army is coming back into the main base. At the same time, FightingFrog can lay siege upon the natural. Uh-oh. FightingFrog is being pulled apart as we speak. He's going to be cleaning up these Zealots. Thankfully, the Prism does get pushed away, but what about the natural? Oh, the boys are the boys are forced off the line, but oh my god, the force field, the hot pickup. 6 SCVs go down, but thankfully Nicoract is able to save the majority of them. Very quick moves there from Nicoract. Ooh, that would have been disastrous. Oh my god. And Nicoract is able to avert disaster, but throughout all of this, Nicoract, he's been the one receiving all these punches, and FightingFrog has been able to just mack her up and get up to 41 workers, almost double the worker count compared to Nicoract. He's getting his production back up and running, his tech as well. FightingFrog just has so much control of this game. The Prism survived, so at the same time, if Nicoract ever moves out, he's vulnerable to a counterattack. He's vulnerable to a drop. Up! Up! Oh my god. Oh god. Thankfully, there's only 2 Stalkers and 3 Sentries, so the drop is able to survive. Just barely. And FightingFrog is free to expand and take a 3rd base. Again, Nicoract can't really do much about that. He tried to go for a drop, but this Observer just sees everything. He sees all the move outs. Here we go. Nicoract moving out with his entire army. This is spotted by FightingFrog. He's looking to get in position in his main just in case there's a Doom drop headed that direction. We see a scan and Nicoract thinks that there's no... Oh no, never mind. He has already seen the 3rd base. Confirms that there's no 4th at least. And yeah, he's just stuck at home. You can't move out. You can't move out against charge lots. That's the thing. That's the problem. Oh, and from here, we don't just have charge lots anymore. We have Archons. We have the Templar Archives. We can work towards Storm if we wanted to. Or Robotic Spay. Pick your poison. FightingFrog is just getting further and further ahead. There are ways for Nicoract to come back. I mean, he does have some medevacs. He can go for some drop play, definitely, to try and pull apart his opponent. But he has to be very careful with this. Oh, he spots the Prism! Oh. I mean, he spots it. Can't really do much about it here as Nicoract is forced back once again. Just continued to be contained. He just wants to draw. He just wants to be free, Poppy. He goes for a scan, sees the tech, sees the upgrades. Oh. And he just cannot break free from this contain. I think we saw a Ghost Academy for a second there, but it looks like Nicoract doesn't want to commit to taking in that direction. At this point, I think we're just going to see a 2-base all-in. I think we're just going to pull the boys. Even then, I don't think it's going to be amazing against Zealots, I'll be honest. I don't think pulling the boys would be anywhere near as amazing as it would be against Colossi. But what else are we going to do? Are we going to take a 3rd? I guess so. All right. We're moving out, and we're getting a 3rd base behind this. Nicoract, he's got to make some magic happen with this army. He's got a decent amount of supply. He's got some ghosts for some EMPs. Oh, no, never, sorry. I remember the Ghost Academy, but I also remember that he didn't throw it down. So no ghosts, but he's got 2 tanks. He's got some Vikings, some Marines, some men with gun. And he's going to be pushing on forward. There is no splash damage available for FightingFrog, but honestly, he doesn't need it, mate. He's got Charge Out, he's got Archons, he's got Immortals, and he's going to just dive in. Mate, he doesn't even care. These hallucinations are kind of working against his Zealots, to be honest, but the tanks are going down, and the Archons are doing so much splash damage to these Marines. Oof. We blink on forward, we focus on the drops, GG gets called, and FightingFrog takes game number 5. Is the comeback real? GG. Oh my god. Yeah, FightingFrog just getting so much control off of his proxy robo. A lot of it came down to him not just getting that worker damage, that SCV damage, but also picking off those tanks as well. Really doing a great job at deterring Nicoract from ever moving out across the map. If he ever did, honestly, he would have just lost his army. He was just bleeding out too much. And yeah, that was just a really well executed proxy there. Cheese from FightingFrog. No. And now we are getting into game number 6. If FightingFrog wins this game, we have an ace match. He just, uno más. He needs one more under his belt to go all the way to the ace match. What are we going to see here in game number 6? Oh my god. Let's go, Papi. Let's go. As game 6 is going to be on Babylon. I'm a little bit upset. We didn't see Altitude today. I really wanted to see Altitude. I guess it's left for maybe game 7. It would have to be game 7. As we are getting into game number 6 and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Babylon, we have the blue Terran player representing Storm Gaming. It is Nicoract. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Babylon, we have his opponent. We have the Swedish Protoss player representing Team Little Fairy, fighting back so hard in this series. He was down 3-0 at some point. It is FightingFrog. I want to see Altitude. Yeah. I'm sick like that. Show me the Altitude, Papi. Show me the ace match. FightingFrog is one game away from almost pulling off the reverse all kill. The reverse sweep. But we'll see if he can pull that off. Once again, racks expand from Nicoract. This time, there is no probe on the map for FightingFrog. No proxy. No proxy. Oh, thankfully. But yeah, that was a pretty wild game. Game number 5 earlier. I was really impressed with what FightingFrog was able to accomplish. Again, I do think that it was a bit of a misread for Nicoract not to get a Cyclone in that situation. Whether it's a tank Cyclone or Cyclone tank, I do think that there's so much utility that a Cyclone provides, especially that early on with the lock-on. It does require a little bit of babysitting, definitely. Like, you have to make sure that you save the lock-on and that you micro and control your Cyclone well. But I do think that that may have been a better response against the proxy robo specifically. No, regardless, we are done with game 5, and now we're here in game number 6. And yeah, we're getting some pretty safe play overall. We do see a Reaper coming out across the map for Nicoract. Do see Nicoract also, unlike some of the previous games, he's not going to be skipping this bunker. Is going to get it down at the natural to make sure that his CC is safe and sound. Safe from these adepts. And the Reaper will be able to dip into the main base. Unfortunately, the Adept is still a couple of seconds away from finishing, so we'll see how good the drone micro is, the probe micro even. Well, so far, very good. Not a single probe has gone down. Oh, did I speak too soon? Ooh, he gets one. And can he get a second? At the same time, the Adept across the map, ooh, is going to be able to delay that CC. Was able to shade past that bunker, and very nicely done here by FightingFrog. Unfortunately, he lost 2 probes, but Nicoract also lost 2 SCVs. He gets into the main? What? Ay, ay, ay. Nicoract unfortunately wasn't able to lift up his wall in time. And we get a full scout as well. We don't see the starport, but we see the factory, so we know it's not a 3-rack setup. I know 3-racks have fallen out of fashion, to be fair, but at least FightingFrog is aware of that. Meanwhile, the Reaper did scout the tech. We have confirmation of the Stargate opener. Oh! Oh my god. Ooh, as the Reaper gets shut down as well. Not before killing a final probe here, so pretty even trades overall. We can see both players have lost 3 workers. Both players have lost their initial unit as well. And both players were able to scout each other. And again, this shows us that Nicoract did indeed click on the building Stargate as he's getting ready with both a Cyclone and a Viking, as well as Marines, so he's going to have everything he needs to defend against an Oracle. Of course, he doesn't know that it's not an Oracle, it's a Phoenix. Oh boy. And there's a Robo. Once again, very similar to Ancient Cistern, FightingFrog is looking to go very greedily into Phoenix Colossus, I feel. I feel like this is for a fast bay. Let's see. The Sphinxes are across the map, and we're going to be able to CC that Cyclone and barely escape. Oh, but that one Phoenix takes a lot of hits to the face. A lot of hull damage already on one of those Phoenixes. Again, upon seeing them, Nicoract also knows that he doesn't have to be careful, or he doesn't have to be careful about oracles coming into his main. He knows that they're not going to be a thing. We do have an Immortal first for safety. Yeah, we're not going to be cutting all of the corners, but show us the bay. We know you want to. Oh boy. As with all these initial units, I do like this from Nicoract. You know, he's transitioning behind this. We see an NG bay on the way, 2 more Raxes as well. But before that happens, he is moving out with the units that he was forced to make to see if he can find some damage. And I do think that he can punish this fast third. We'll see what kind of angle he comes in at, as he is going to be spotted by this hallucination. Oh boy. Gonna be looking to try and poke and dance with the army. Opts not to go for it in the end. Is gonna rotate around though, and is gonna get eyes on the third base. Oh, and here we go with the stutter stepping with the focus fire. Can he force a cancel? The Phoenixes are coming on in. Oh, one Phoenix is already gonna be going down. And it looks like FightingFrog is gonna be able to force this back. Does even take down a Cyclone as well. Uh oh. Ooh, but losing all of our Phoenixes like this is not worth it. Like, Cyclones, they kind of run out of usefulness over time. Phoenixes don't. We need the Phoenixes desperately to actually have map control, to shut down drops, and to support the army. And to lose 2 Phoenixes already is honestly it's a pretty big deal. Meanwhile, we were talking about it. There is a robotics bay, so we are getting into Phoenix Colossus. Unfortunately, it's a little bit of a shaky road to get there because we've lost so many Phoenixes already. So FightingFrog is a bit on the back foot here. He is vulnerable, I will say. Vulnerable to drop play, vulnerable to pushes as well. Speaking of, here we go. Nicoract is in the midst of moving on out. He has 3 tanks. Oh, his stim is still on the way though, so it looks like he's just posturing to maybe just expand and take his third base. We'll see if he does commit across the map, as this push is not going to have stim, so I don't know if I'm convinced by it. But this will be hitting before Colossus. The first Colossus is still only just now starting. Oh boy, so no splash damage whatsoever. Meanwhile, another Phoenix is going to be going down. Oh my god. FightingFrog, take care of your Phoenixes, papi. We have the siege, we have the army trying to dive on top of the tanks, but the tanks are just too good. If we had our Phoenixes, we would have been able to CC these tanks earlier. Oh, it looks like regardless, we will just barely be able to clean this up. Pretty tight defense here from FightingFrog. He lost more of his units, but he's able to survive long enough for his first Colossus to come out. Again, this was all with like vanilla gateway units. Like slow lots, blinkless stalkers, he's able to hold on. Yeah, Nicoract maybe overextending a little bit with that push. Especially with that stim, you know? Stim is about to finish up in a couple of seconds. We'll have that available for any kind of future timing. We have a scan, it does spot the first Colossi coming out. The second one about to pop out as well. Get our third base fully saturated. FightingFrog from here can take a fourth if he wanted to. But I would prefer more gateways. Right now we're only working with 4 gates, and there we go. We have a 5th gateway and a 6th gateway on the way. That will help, definitely, but because FightingFrog has been working on such a low gateway count for so long, he's gonna have a hard time keeping up here. There we go. We have the double drop towards the north. Gonna distract the army at the same time. Another double drop coming in towards the south. Looking to go into the main. Ooh, this is spotted by the Phoenixes. Do have a warping into the main base. FightingFrog is preparing himself. Nice scouting overall here from our Protoss. As he moves a little bit out of position, but there we go. He's still in the main base. The drop isn't going to be able to unload at all. Oof. And yeah, FightingFrog, honestly, he's done a really great job at splitting up his army. This can be a really difficult thing to do. Like, it can be really difficult to judge what's good with each other and what should be safe. And yeah, the Colossi are able to defend the north, the Phoenixes and Zealots towards the south. Doesn't really lose too much here. Meanwhile, we do have the Templar Archives on the way to get into Storm, to get into those Archons. But we're not there yet, and Stim is looking to move out. He's looking to hit a timing with 1-1. Please don't lose any more Phoenixes. Por favor, papi. Keep them safe. As Nicoract is getting ready for a pretty committed push here. We only have 2 Colossi. The third is still being made. Is 2 Colossus going to be enough to defend against this many Marauders? Nicoract is going to be looking to dive in. No shield battery. Oh my, I just realized there's no shield battery. There's no overcharge. Despite that, this Zealot army is getting on top of these Marines. And Marauders at the same time. The double drop gets deflected as well. FightingFrog. Fighting back on both sides. Just completely neutering the aggression of Nicoract. Oh no! But did I speak too soon? 1 Phoenix goes down, and oh, this 4th base was a little bit ambitious. Gonna be cancelled. Oh, can we blink? Can we blink? No. Nicoract forced to turn around with everything. Thankfully, he didn't really lose too much bio in these little trades. He has been able to keep the majority of his Marine Marauder alive. Oh, as we are starting Disruptor production, I believe the first Disruptor is out. Yep, there it is, here towards the north. But our economy isn't doing that great for FightingFrog. He has a really high worker count, but we can see he is oversaturated at his 3rd base. He needs a 4th up and running to be able to afford these his production, to be able to afford 2 Disruptors being produced at a time. At the moment, we only have 1 Robo, and oh my god, we're actually skipping the 2nd Robo. We're going for the Fleet Beacon. Before that happens, here we go. Nicoract with a massive supply lead is pushing on forward. The EMPs are connecting. Where's the Disruptor? The Nova's launch is now going down, but the Disruptor gets focused out before the Nova can connect, and here we go. This is the timing that Nicoract was looking for in the middle of FightingFrog as he tries to transition to Sky Toss. It's not going to work. It's not going to happen. The Colossus goes down, the Archons as well, and there's nothing left for the Protoss. FightingFrog was doing so well keeping up with all the drop play. But again, this Fleet Beacon. He's crazy, Papi. It's a little bit too risky of a move to go for, especially skipping your 2nd Robo, skipping your Disruptor production, your Colossus production, something that we desperately need here to defend against the Bio. And here we go. We have that double drop into the main base. We do have an overcharge, and that will be able to defend the main, but FightingFrog is stuck on these 3 bases. He's lost so much of his army. He has 1 Disruptor to his name. And 1 Disruptor isn't enough. Behind this Nicoract, he's got his 4th up and running. We're going for the mules. And yeah, we can't make use of the Fleet Beak. It's just not possible. we can't get into the Sky Toss as much as we would like to. Oh, FightingFrog trying to catch his opponent, not looking, but the Disruptor, it gets focused down, and mate, that was the final Disruptor. We're not going to get a single Nova connecting this game. That's how good the target firing has been from Nicoract, and it's going to be a little bit too much. We have a recall here towards the 3rd base, but GG gets called, and Nicoract has done it. He will be our Alpha X EU Ascension League Code A champion. GG. Oh my god, the finals were a roller coaster ride of emotions, mate. We had some crazy stuff. We saw some weird 2-base carrier play. We saw some proxy robo. We saw game 1. We kicked off with proxy racks where Nicoract was able to commit to if you remember, off of 1 base, he went for an armory. He went for a committed Widowmine job. Like, already from game 1, from the get-go, things were wild. And GG. GG, well played. It was a long road here for Nicoract. FightingFrog, I was really impressed with how he was able to almost come back in this series, win 2 games back to back, and look to win a 3rd in this game as well. In this last game, he was looking pretty good. Like, he was doing such a great job at keeping up with all the drops, at kind of deterring any more of that aggression. Not so much at keeping his Phoenixes alive, but outside of that, he was doing a good job. Just being a little bit too greedy towards the end there. Like, that fleet beacon was wild. To be able to try and sneak away with that. Yeah, congratulations to Nicoract. I know this tournament has been running for a while. For those who don't know, this tournament started last year. It started like in April or August of 2022. But unfortunately, there were some admin issues. This was an event that was run by Miguel over at Alpha X, but I think some personal things kind of came into kind of like disrupted kind of his cycle here, and he wasn't able to commit to running the event. Recently, he was in the chat earlier, but Snoopy did step up to help admin and help finalize and finish the event, organize it on the on the organization side of things. So massive shout out to Snoopy. But again, unfortunately, it did take a while for us to get through all of this, but finally, we have been able to crown a champion. Oh, GG, GG. And it's great to see that the majority of the players were willing to still take part in this event as well. We had a couple of forfeits, like, just because of how long the event had gone on for, and some players had kind of stepped away from the game. But it was great to see everyone else returning here for this event, and yeah, it was honestly a great day of casting, or a great event of casting. We still have more to cast in an hour, so stay tuned for that. Yeah, it wasn't just Nicoract, it wasn't just FightingFrog. Shameless also had a pretty good showing, as well as Soul Spirit. My heart still bleeds for Soul Spirit. Like, Soul Spirit, he looks so good against FightingFrog. I don't want to walk over some, you know, like ground that we've already gone over before, but yeah, Soul Spirit looked so damn good in that series. Just you know, tunnel visioning a little bit too much in the end, and FightingFrog, you know, he was a worthy opponent here for Nicoract in the end, to make sure that the series wasn't too one-sided whatsoever. So GG, well played. And shout out to not just Snoopy, but Alpha X, Sushi as well, for running the event. I did get confirmation, we did get confirmation a couple of days ago that they don't really intend to come back with another season, just because it is a little work to run this event. Like, it's basically GSL for Europe. It's basically well, it's GSL, but for, you know, not the best of the best in Europe, and it takes a lot to organize the groups and the playoff bracket and everything, and especially because it took so long for this event to wrap up. I think they're a little bit put off by trying to run it again. But, you know, if at any point they change their minds and they decide to come back for a second season, we would of course love to be a part of it. We would love to promote it as well. Of course, it's up to Alpha X, it's up to Sushi, so it's up to the big boss. But regardless, this event was great for what it was. So yeah, shout out to Alpha X. Oh, I believe they've already paid out the matcherinos and all that stuff for this event as well. So yeah, has already been paid out. And I hope everyone in the chat enjoyed themselves. You know, we got a lot of fun games. And I think that's what's important here. Again, these aren't the best of the best in Europe, but regardless, because they are pretty similar in skill and they're still high level, there's still 6k plus GMs on the European ladder, they provide some great games. I also want to give a shout out to Asher Bro and Yakuzaku for casting with me. They didn't cast with me today, but the other days of the playoff bracket, and Codes as well, they were a part of that, and yeah, wouldn't have been able to do it without them either. Unfortunately, again, they are busy for the time being. Yaku with school and Asher with some other commitments. But you know, if they could have been here, I'm sure they would have. Oh, thank you. For those wondering, our next broadcast is going to be in 30 minutes. I may just leave the stream on, I guess. Oh no, I have to hand off anyway. So the stream is going to be going down so that we can get ready for World Team League. WTL is going to be in 30 minutes. World Team League day number 3. Of course, we've been casting back-to-back days of World Team League. And if you're interested, then stick around, because again, in 30 minutes, that's going to be live, and I'm not going to be solo casting. I'm going to be casting alongside Asher Bro, so he'll be able to save my voice. My voice is being strained a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. So yeah, in 30 minutes we will be returning with some more StarCraft. Let's quickly just double check what the matchups are gonna be. World Team League. Oh boy. Okay, so later on in the evening it is going to be it's going to be the elimination round. Platinum Heroes is going to be playing against Mystery Gaming. It's going to be Goblin versus Dongregu, Acheron versus Strange, and Shadown versus Classic. Oh my god. You know what? I think I can show this off actually. Hold on. So let's all have a look together at this impromptu setup. Can I do this? Can I? Yeah. Okay. One second. Here we go. So we have been casting every day of World Team League, and tonight in 30 minutes, Platinum Heroes versus Mystery Gaming, we have Goblin versus Dongregu, Acheron versus Strange, and Shadown versus Classic in a best of 7 series. After that wraps up, we will have a second series, and it's going to be Team Abydos versus Team Starcom, and that's going to be, oh my god, the big names are coming out. Cure versus Wayne, Nightmare versus Bratok, and Creator versus Kaz. And what's crazy is that this is the elimination round. The loser of this series, they're done. They are out of World Team League. It's brutal. It is a little bit brutal here that, of course, some teams do have to be eliminated, but it is the way of things. It is the way of the brackets. And both Mystery Gaming and Abydos are two of the favorites, and the fact that they got knocked down to the lower bracket is so brutal for Platinum Heroes and Team Starcom. I don't envy them. It's going to be an uphill battle, definitely, for them to go up against these Korean-based teams, or Chinese teams with Korean players. And, wish them the best. Wish them the best, Poppy. Wish them the best. They're gonna need it. They're gonna need it. Definitely. So yeah, that's gonna be coming up soon. Until then, I guess we are going to be heading off and giving someone a bit of a raid, just to give them some love and give them some support. But again, be sure to come back to this channel in 30 minutes. We're gonna have some more StarCraft. I'm sure there's gonna be other casters. I don't know who. I think Wardy is busy with his tournament. Maybe Roddy, maybe someone. I don't. I'm not too sure, but I'm sure there's gonna be other community casters as well. And World Team League is a pretty popular event for people to jump on. So yeah, hope everyone had some great time. Just read the Dark Hobby Pasta. True. GG. So yeah, thank you so much everyone for watching. Thank you so much for the support. Everyone, take this moment to get some water, get some food. Don't forget to stretch and prepare yourselves for World Team League. If you want some more Cranky Duckling action, check us out on Instagram. The can, man. We just finished, Poppy. Shout out to M Canning for the raid. Thank you so much. Hope you had a great ladder session. Hope you had a great stream overall, whether it's laddering or whether it's doing something else. We appreciate the support. Thank you so much, as we did just wrap up the Ascension League for Europe. It was a pretty intense finals. It was a pretty intense tournament. But again, we will be back in 30 minutes. If you want to support the Cranky Ducklings, check us out. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Discord. We're all over the place. We have a YouTube channel where we upload on a daily basis. And we have a Patreon as well, ! Patreon, if you want to support our tournaments. Because we did recently announce 3 tournaments. We announced Grand Platypus Open, the Tenacious Turtle Tussle, and Sparkling Tuna Cup. Oof, all 3 of those are going to be returning. And 2 of them are going to be returning this week, 1 of them next week. So if you want to help support the tournaments, support the StarCraft scene, support StarCraft in general, then check out our Patreon. We're transparent where all the money goes with the setup. Our goal is to fund our bi-weekly events and to hopefully make them weekly and make them more regular, and then grow it to pay out top 4, top 8, all that good stuff. So consider supporting us on Patreon. With that, we'll be back in 30 minutes. Until then, give some love to some of these other beautiful StarCraft streamers, as we are going to be giving them a bit of a raid. Thank you so much for watching. Shout out to M Canning for the raid, and we'll see you guys next time. Ciao. Ciao.